Hi everyone, I'm Scott Homan. I'm the writer and director of Witness Underground, a documentary film about a group of musicians inside of a cult. Culture of the music scene becomes an exit conduit for the people to leave this said cult.
And I'm Ryan Sutter, the proprietor of Nuclear Gopher Productions. I'm here because I am one of the featured subjects in the Witness Underground documentary because I'm a musician and artist and also the co-founder of a Jehovah's Witness independent record label back in the 90s called Nuclear Gopher, which is the source of much of what is covered in the documentary. And really excited to be able to not just have this documentary there, but also to be bringing Nuclear Gopher back into the world, bringing music out again, and getting ready to perform some of this stuff for the first time in many, many years at a showing of this awesome movie. So I'm pretty excited. I play in a band called Awkward Bodies, and I am here in the Nuclear Gopher recording studio, or at least the current iteration of it.
I also write, direct, and edited all the content season 1 and 2 of what's called XJW Coming Out, which are coming out stories of artists especially who've left the Jehovah's Witnesses and what their lives are like through that exit, what they've been up to ever since they left. It's a big transition. So if you're interested in that kind of topic, please sign up at witnessunderground.com. There's a pop-up that will allow you to sign up with your email to get news about our film, news about film festivals, because each region that we've got accepted to will have different dates and times where you can watch the film. A lot of them are virtual. There's one big one coming up. It's in person, called Sound Unseen. If you like the project, you want to support it, we're doing a special thing right now for October. So everyone through October, if you sign up for $1, you'll get the soundtrack for the XW Coming Out series, which features a band called High TV that formed after leaving the religion. And three of the 4 members are former Jehovah's Witnesses, and their music's amazing. They're a rock band. You get a download of all those songs. I think it's a 6-song EP. And for anyone who signs up at the worldly level for $20, I will send you a ticket to watch the film at the Portland Film Festival, or the Sound Unseen Film Festival is coming up. The Patreon is patreon.com XJWDOC, 6 letters. It means Ex Jehovah's Witness Documentary, XJW Doc. So the 4 film festivals that are coming up, one just started last week called Portland Film Festival. It's a big deal, really good for independent filmmakers. It runs from October 6th to November 8th. The next one that's coming up is Peachtree Village International Film Festival, is the 21st to 24th, and that's like a Southeast regional, it's Georgia based. Peachtree Village is part of near Atlanta, or part of Atlanta. So it'll be Southeast regional, probably geo-blocked to Georgia, and maybe Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, something like that. We'll get updated on that soon. And then Sound Unseen is in Minnesota in person, but also Texas as well, but virtually mid-November. So November 12th in Minneapolis, we're doing an in-person screening, which is a huge deal for us. That's easily like the most exciting thing that we've got going on. Coming up. It's going to be an in-person festival screening at the Women's Club, 6:30 p.m. on November 12th, a Friday night. Huge like headlining marquee event for Sound Unseen. And they really worked with us a lot over the last few months to plan that. And they've asked all the artists in the film, all these ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, to come play live. And so there's going to be 3 bands, which is super exciting. All bands that have written and performed after leaving the religion. So that features High TV, same as which I've been working with for many years, like 7 or 8 years. And then Ryan Sutter and the Awkward Bodies, which is a local Minnesota band as well. And they're playing a bunch of stuff that's never been performed live before. And also Puff Puff is getting back together, which is a really big deal. They're the special guest, which is really exciting. It's an all-female band that you can look them up, but I have the links for them. Anyway, that's a huge deal. Come out if you can, if you're in that region. And then we just launched a new teaser. So please check that out. It's a little mix of a couple things I've done before, but Portland asked us to make something that's like a Meet the Directors kind of piece. It's 1 minute long. That's fun. Really kind of wild experimental stuff I did in that. And then we're putting together a vinyl pre-sale for like a music that's in the film, original, like high quality vinyl. It takes a long time to have those mixed and also put together, but if you're interested in getting a vinyl that's like our kickoff launch of Nuclear Gopher's wing of making merch for bands, that will be this piece of vinyl that will really support the film and Nuclear Gopher's ambitious kickoff restart. That's a 2022 thing, 2022 launch. Watch out for the vinyl pre-sale. We're also doing some t-shirts that'll be on sale digitally and also in person in the Minnesota Fest. We have a weekly podcast that Ryan and I are doing. We're bringing on guests now, all their artists who are ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, and turns out there's a lot of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses really branched out and became amazing professional musicians and artists. Nuclear Gopher is a really special music scene, and it's not the only one. There's a big community connection to the Chicago Jehovah's Witness music scene at the time in the 90s. I just learned about one that was like a Portland-based or Oregon, Northwest Coast-based Jehovah's Witness music scene. And what's interesting about that scene is that it's not a religious music scene, even though obviously it sounds like it's in a cult, it's in a religion. They must write things about God, but that was off limits. So all their music's super secular, and they had all these weird limitations on them, so they did a lot of creative stuff. So I'm super curious about learning about that one. I also just learned from the XJW Reddit about a Sydney Jehovah's Witness music scene from the same era, and some Brisbane connection. There's just a lot of interesting people that are coming out of the woodwork and reaching out to me. This episode, how to mix for vinyl, 90s recording techniques that they use with Nuclear Gopher. We brainstorm about what Witness Underground podcast, what Nuclear Gopher is going to be doing in the future, and how we might highlight like his huge archive of music that he's been a part of and he produced back throughout the 17 years of Nuclear Gopher's original thing that they created. More Nuclear Gopher history, the Rock Boys inception of proto-Nuclear Gopher when him and his brother were kids making their first band. We have a Rhett feature section that we might dive into more in the future, but we kind of get into Rhett's personality. And then Mike Thomas tribute and tribute to the Lavone as well, a little bit of Lavone history, which is really the foundation that Nuclear Gopher was built on, the back of that band and what they did to the community early on. And they have a 6-album legacy with a highlight of an album called Psychotic Requiem that Ryan claims is one of his favorite albums he's ever done of all time, and they were teenagers at the time. Enjoy the show. Let us know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe. And there's a bell, I guess, that people are supposed to click. Thanks for listening to the show. The one with Rhett is the really cool poster when he has like the flip up, like John Lennon glasses, and he's playing like 2 different keyboard synthesizers simultaneously.
Right. Yeah. That's the cover of the Lavone Spectacle for Compassionate Minds.
Yeah, it's a great image, and I wanted to use
playing
that
an Oberheim. That was from my, I took that as a high school photo class picture.
Nice. It's a great photo. I like it.
Thank you. There's another Rhett thing I want to show you. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you something awesome.
So I posted on Reddit on the kickoff at midnight. I posted the teaser and I posted the trailer, and Reddit blew up for like a few hours. It was pretty fun. I got like 70, I don't know, I don't use Reddit at all, but I got like 70 upvotes in a short amount of time. And all these people were like, holy shit, I was in an ex-Jehovah's Witness band, and I live in Australia, and Sydney's scene was sick. And like, there's this other guy posted from Sydney. He's like, I was in the Sydney music scene. And then this guy from Melbourne was like, you guys, check this out. And they were just sharing cool stuff. And then there was some guy from the Southeast and another person in like the San Diego scene. And like, and there was a punk guy with like XW in the punk scene in Florida. And I was like, oh man, this is cool. Like,
Imagine if back then we had been able to connect to all of those different scenes.
Right. And they were all contemporary too. This is like the 90s just hit around the world, and this like the world had peace and rock and roll, and like people were making rock and roll.
Those were good days.
Yeah.
In some ways. Now, this is what I want to show you. This is a t-shirt that I think should go in future merch. And it is one of my favorite images of Rhett. You ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's see it.
Okay.
I saw the original photograph. I love that. He looks like a real character.
This is the best t-shirt I own right here. Because if you're wearing this shirt, you're happy.
Yeah, right? He's got a Pee Wee Herman kind of thing going on.
Yeah, Rhett used to make this face all the time. This was not like a one-time thing. This was daily.
The Rhett's crazy face.
It was Rhett's well-known and well-loved nutty look, and he often would say he used to do a character that would go with that face, and it was a parrot, and the parrot's name was Meatloaf. And so Rhett would constantly, he would just start walking around going, enough, 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 enough. And he would, like, with that face. And I have no idea at all why he came up with this. It was Meatloaf the parrot, and it was, a routine thing that Rhett would do. And I know this probably doesn't make Rhett seem brilliant, but I think this is the best. This makes me very happy.
You want to print a couple hundred, like a limited release?
I really want to. I am going to sell that shirt someday. Right now, that is the only one in existence. I made that one myself, and but absolutely.
Did you print it?
No, that one's just an iron-on, but
cool.
More need to happen. It's pretty great.
Okay, so how does iron-on work? Are they do they last a long time? Can you wash them?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's certain types of iron-ons that you can buy that not only are really good and durable, but they are also white backgrounds, so they can go on a dark shirt.
Okay.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Screen printing's better. You can do screen printing do you know about how to do screen printing? It's super easy.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I've seen the process. I've not done it myself, but I've seen people do t-shirt setups and tapestry setups or whatever.
Yeah, it's really straightforward, and it's easy enough to do, and I'm going to make lots more of them someday. But if you have something you want done, let me know.
Yeah, well, I want to make some shirts for this November 12th screening of Witness Underground at Sound Unseen Music and Film Festival.
Actually, you know what? We need some event shirts.
Yeah.
They need to just be unique to this event, like not general. You have to come to this event to get a shirt.
Yeah, Cindy said it's the only thing she's ever responded to me about. I sent the shirt, and she's like, "This is what I like about concert T-shirts, and you should change it this way, that way, and make it look like a proper concert tour shirt."
See, all you had to do was hit a topic she cares about.
T-shirts, turns out.
T-shirts. Yep. Easy peasy.
Yeah. I don't quite know what she means, but I have a general idea. But it made me stop trying to make a T-shirt because I was like, oh, okay, everything I did doesn't work. But I still we can do more than one idea. That's how T-shirts work. That's why there's so many.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I like the idea of a limited release, like, oh, what's that shirt you're wearing with all the laurels on it? And it says 2021 on it. It'll be obsolete in 3 months. It'll be 2022 when everyone wears it.
That's one of the things that I really like is T-shirts that are totally ephemeral. I like it when they actually have a date on them, because then it's like when you see that shirt and you're like, oh yeah, I was at that show. Or you see that shirt and you're like,
FOMO hard.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's the best. I think that the more ephemeral the stuff is, the more tied to a place and a time and a thing it is, the more exciting it is. That's my opinion, for what it's worth, which is probably not a hell of a lot.
Okay.
I gotta stop looking for this artwork.
You should give me some ideas.
You gotta send me
some examples. Oh, which article? For which thing?
I don't know. I'm just looking at your Twitter feed now because I was looking for the artwork that you mentioned about these paintings or posters you had. Oh, there it is.
Oh, the Twitter feed, for XW Doc.
I see the posters now. Okay. I
never posted the Rhett one. I only posted the Cindy Eric one.
Yeah, I see the Cindy Eric one. I think I actually saw that before, and I don't think that.
It was I was like, how do I get a poster done? I'm so out of touch with Photoshop right now, and this is last year, and I need it fast. I don't want to do it. I don't have time to do it. So I paid someone on Fiverr like $15. They did it for $15. They took I gave them the 2 photos of Cindy and Eric, and I gave them the font for the title, and I gave them the logo for Banana Island, and that's it. So it's like 2 photographs and text and a logo, and they made that, which I was like, that's $15 is amazing value. And I got the Photoshop file, so I can manipulate it as I wish.
I feel like they should have charged you more.
Right, yeah, exactly. He's like, come back for more. This is a great job. I was like, damn. I would never, he did actual creative work. He didn't just clean up dust or changed the background from black to white or something. You know, he added like these weird color wisps and spacey looking stuff in the weird triangle shape with like light effects.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah,
Looks really
for
cool.
$15.
I also just noticed you've got some weird looping gif of me sitting next to Ryan Duvall.
Oh yeah, it's like from
It says sounds exciting, and we're just looping.
A buddy of mine cut a ton of like B-roll stuff and like I don't know, not even B-roll, like off film stuff, like extra shots for like GIFs, and I have a whole like 20 things he made.
I want all the GIFs.
Yeah,
give me all the GIFs. I want every GIF, because I communicate entirely through GIFs on Slack.
Maybe I should send you the GIFs and then you can caption them.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
You down for that?
Send me little GIF loops. I will be very happy to come up with appropriate text.
Okay. Good, because I'm not a GIF communicator. I've been using them more this year.
I probably wouldn't be able to do my job at all without Giphy. That's kind of my it's my secret superpower with my team. I'm just like, if it can't be said in a Giphy, is it really worth saying?
What about this vinyl? I want to do a pre-sale, and you have ideas for vinyl, and you have a new band featuring your music. What's your dream vinyl, and what's your like nice to have vinyl?
Okay, well, I mean,
like maybe dream vinyl, and then like the easy to make vinyl. Maybe that's the options.
Well, I mean, I plan to put out a lot of records on Nuclear Gopher again. That's not probably news, or maybe it is news. I don't know if I've said it out loud to other people.
I'm saying it out loud. The more you say it, the better.
I fully intend to not do a vinyl release. I'm going to do multiple things. One thing I know I need to do is I need to remix and remaster some of my music from the last 10 years, because it sounds a lot better now than it used to sound, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing in 2007, 2006, 2005. So there's a lot of stuff I'd like to personally rework to put out some new Ryan stuff. But also for the soundtrack, I mean, the key thing to me is to try to put together a soundtrack record for Witness Underground. And that means probably a selection, not of all 42 songs in the setup, but a selection of, curated 35, 45 minute runtime. And it should be, I have a vision that it's just a fairly straightforward, like, Nuclear Gopher logo, and just like the Witness Underground, like just something straight up like music from the film Witness Underground, like just call it that, like, and make it really straightforward, and like, this is the record of songs from the thing. And what we need from you, and maybe the community in general, I don't know, but probably from you, just got to pare it down to enough songs so that we can take those songs and we can do something with them. It's not going to be the last release. It's going to be the first release. Right.
I was thinking, from what I was looking into the research I did for that vinyl company I sent you emails about and messages, that like 15, 16 songs would fill an A and B side of a record.
Yep, that's about right. Yep.
So,
if you go more than that, you have to go to 2-record set. And I think I would lean more towards making something that's kind of special and limited and like a keepsake. Because we can put all the music online. Yeah. But the vinyl record should be something that's like awesome.
Right.
So
like the best of the best.
Yeah.
I did a lot of curation to make the soundtrack and like bring out the emotion and like highlight as many of the bands as possible in this. And like that was an incredibly emotive and special process. But we had 80 minutes. And a record doesn't have that much time. And also like it's I used some really bizarro, obscure stuff because I thought it kind of worked in this special way.
It fits as background music in a film. It's not necessarily what you want to highlight on a soundtrack.
Right,
so there may even be stuff on the soundtrack that isn't in the film, and I think that would be cool. I think that would be fine if it's if it supports the film and it has material by artists who are in the film. I would feel good about that.
Of those 42 songs, I think pieces of it I was using more like for sound effects because there's some pretty wild, like environmental and just like whimsical stuff, or even just like mood stuff. There's like some track from someone who tracked a Nuclear Gopher, just like a guitar, and they played the same thing forever, and it didn't even, I don't even think you know who did it, but it's just part of the Nuclear Gopher archive, and I was like, yeah, just a guitar string being hit and then a slide. It's like, and they had, the only thing that was on the name of the track was like the name of the guitar that was being played. Like the guy wanted to compare different guitars, and he was playing exactly the same thing super slowly and like with lots of soul or something. But
I don't even think I know what you're referring to. You know what? When you told me that you included sketch at a Volkswagen dealership,
I dug deep. I went really deep.
I was like, wow, I don't know what that sounds like. So I went back and found it and I listened to it. And then when I was watching the movie, I was like, oh, that's the one. That's what he did. There's a lot. I will tell you this: the archive has a fraction of what exists.
I saw your tape wall.
Yeah,
like 8-track, original 8 tracks and 4 tracks.
They're 4 tracks, but yeah, there's about 100 of them. They're over there.
Those aren't even digitized, or most of them aren't, right? Or mixed or anything.
They're digitized, but not mixed.
Okay.
So if you go into the raw 4-track tapes, there's miles and miles and miles of them, from dating from 89 to 2002. I think is the time frame that with the analog stuff covers. There's other tapes that are even pre 4-track that go back to 85, 86. So there's a lot of tapes. And then the digital stuff is interesting because when we started recording digital in the late 90s, it was we were using this software called Cool Edit Pro. I don't know if you're ever heard of this.
I've heard of it, but I never used it.
Eventually, Adobe bought them. It was a company called, I want to say, Centrillium or something. And they got bought out by Adobe, and it became Adobe Audition. So if you use Adobe Audition today, it is the descendant of Cool Edit Pro. Okay. But so our first recordings that weren't the cassettes were a PC that I built. I ordered a bunch of parts, and I put together this PC. And for a sense of specs here, we're talking about around the time period of the first Pentiums. So this is like 96, Pentium 97. 1. Yeah. And
is this computer shown in the film in that one scene where you're playing on like 3 different, you're playing Atari, or no, you're playing Pac-Man?
No, this is even older than that.
Even older than that, okay.
Yeah. The first machine we built was an AMD powered machine. It had a K62 processor, 300 megahertz. Had, I want to say, 4 megabytes or 8 megabytes of RAM, and had megabytes. Yes. It was running Windows 95 and Cool Edit Pro, and we had a 2-channel audio sound card from Ecosystems. I want to say it was the Darla or the Layla or something like that. It did 20-bit audio, which was nice. It was like at least a step up from the 16-bit CD stuff. Yeah. But we could only record 2 tracks at a time. And we could, what the cool part that Cool Edit Pro could do with such limited hardware, Cool Edit Pro did this little trick where you would record your song, or you record your track, and you'd record on the next track, and you would record it. And what it would do is it would make a temporary mix down. So even if you had 10, 20, 30, 40 tracks, and I know because Rhett pushed it up to 43 tracks once.
Oh, which song was that for?
Floatin'.
Floatin', that's what was highlighted in K-Pace. Yeah.
Yeah, Floatin' is 43 tracks on a 300 megahertz machine with like 8 megabytes of RAM. I mean, that's insane. But what Cool Edit Pro would do is no matter how many tracks you had, it would mix it down to a stereo playback track. and then you'd only be playing with whatever your next track is. So it was
A
pretty
single
much
track.
yeah.
And then you had a stereo mix on one track, and you had a free track.
Yeah. So it was
You play
always
that,
creating a
and then you bring
bounce
it back
down.
down to the stereo.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as soon as you finished a track and you saved it, the project would have to re-render with the new material, and it would take 3-4 minutes, but you'd be setting up to record the next track, so you wouldn't really care, right? So while it was re-rendering everything, you could go and like set up another instrument, set up another microphone. So we used to work like that, and I still have the CDR backups of those files. And some of those files are lost. Like there are some Slavone songs from 20 years ago that I no longer have the original multi-tracks because they were digital. The analog ones I still have. The digital ones, some of those CDRs did not survive, but some of them did. And I found out you can still run Cool Edit Pro on Windows 10. The original old copy from the 90s still runs, and it opens those files, and it plays them.
Wow.
So I've actually rerun and reloaded. So what I'm trying to do, one of my digital preservation projects, is to take these 20-plus-year-old digital project files with all of their mixed down information, stereo panning, volume controls, like everything is all done in this ancient software. And then I have to try to convert that to a modern digital format that I can work with. And it is very, very painstaking. Like it is a pain in the ass, because ideally I would be able to render all of these down to some sort of like stems, where you could just take the raw files and just line them all up in a new DAW.
We're talking about, like, let's say you have 10 tracks. Every track's a different instrument that you track separately.
Yeah.
It's separated out so you can move it around or adjust it or turn it off or on or change the volume and then make a different mix.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what you want to do, the problem is a lot of times, let's say on your first track, you do your guitar and vocal, and like, I'm singing my song. And your second track, you're just going to do the backup vocal. Well, you're not going to use the entire second track. You're going to fast forward to the part in the track where you need to do your backup vocal. You're going to hit record. You're going to sing your la la la's, and then you're going to stop. So what you have is an audio wave file that not only has that data, it also has to be positioned at the right place on the timeline. And that's why when you render stems, what you usually do is it will take that and it will just insert silence to like create all the waves at the same length, the same thing. That's a good way for you and I to exchange a project. That's not a capability of Cool Edit Pro from the 90s. I can't render the stems. I have to like make a note of exactly how many milliseconds that vocal part starts, get that wave file out of the original thing, create a new project, set it at the same exact spot, and try to painstakingly like assemble the file.
But so when you were describing the mix or how it tracks, you have two tracks, then it bounces the two into a stereo single track.
It bounces all of them into a single track every time.
Right.
Yes.
Every single time. So then aren't they muddled and like combined? Like you can't ever separate them again because they're like mixed.
Oh, no,
together.
no. They're not permanently done. It's like a scratch track to play to.
Okay.
And it just keeps it always up to date with whatever the latest thing is.
Okay.
So the longer you work on the project, the more tracks you have, the longer it takes to do that step. It just it gets longer and longer and longer.
Gotcha.
But it does allow you to keep a really low, footprint on the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how recording was back in the day.
Interesting. That's cool that you can still separate them back out. That's kind of amazing. Like,
yeah.
So you take Floatin' and pull it back into 40 original tracks?
Absolutely.
That's so cool. Because that song is dope. Like, it's so complex. And it did sound, from the original recording from back in the day, working on a zero budget, it just sounds a little muddy. And I think you could bring something back out. But it's cool as it is.
It is. Well, you got to remember another thing, too. If you're working in a modern digital domain, you have plugins, right? So you'll record the stuff, and then you'll do EQ on it, and you'll tweak it, you'll run it into some effects, you'll punch it up a little bit. There are no plugins on those old primitive digital recordings. Those are as they went into the box.
Right.
So the only two things we have control over in the old days are the volume up and down and the panning left and right. Everything else is exactly as recorded. So if I were to want to remaster or remix Floatin', I not only have to take all 43 tracks and get them all in a new domain, but then I have to go through each one and I have to, apply low pass filters, redo EQ, like basically to get the sound where it should be.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to take his bass harmonica parts and his 9 backing vocal tracks and his saxophone solo and all of the other things that are in that song. And I'd need to element by element clean, EQ, tweak, like inform with plugins and stuff. And so it's actually very possible to make a lot of that old stuff sound way better than it sounds today.
Yeah.
Because you'd have the ability to do digital cleanup, digital equalization, digital processing in the plugin space today that just wasn't even an option back then. And the same thing is true with a lot of the 4-track stuff. Like those 4-track mixes are just literally playing the tape back with like some basic volume controls happening in real time and mixing them down. I can take those original files and I can say, oh, I'm isolating the drums, the bass, the guitar, the vocal, and I can then take them in a digital domain, clean them up, re-EQ them, make them work in the mix. So there's actually a great potential to make this stuff all sound way better, which is to say that's the work involved in trying to get a soundtrack record together. We have to do digital preservation, and that's not a trivial task.
Right.
I have the tools.
Months.
I'm learning the expertise. But man, I'll tell you this. When you listen to the original tapes, like the 4-track tapes are all still 4 tracks. Like I've got them digitally transferred as 4 tracks. They sound so much better than the mixes. Like orders of magnitude better than the mixes. And when I can take an old song recorded in the 90s and I can take that and I can clean up that mix, I can make things sound pretty decent. Like not awesome. They're still 4-track tapes from the 90s. Like make them sound a lot better.
Yeah.
But I'm honestly still in the process of learning how to do this. Just like kind of how you're learning how to do all this film festival stuff. I stare at that pile of tapes and I think, oh God, that's a lot of work.
It's a mountain of work. What you could do, like when you're a free man, you could do like one a week or something, or like one great song from one tape a week.
Okay, let me ask you a question, honestly, and I mean this. Brainstorm with me here.
Mm-hmm.
How would or how should I release this material? Like, let's say I take one of these old digitized tapes, and I've done this plenty of times, where I go in, I skim through it, and I figure out everything that's on it. I go, okay, this is a false take. This is a good take. Oh, this is 3 of the 7 tracks that ultimately add up to this other song. I don't know what tape has the other 4. But out of these tapes, there's always these interesting outtakes. There's these alternate versions of songs. And then every once in a while there's, oh, that's the actual mixed version of the song, or that is the actual final version of the song that got mixed and put on tape. How much of this stuff do you think is worth sharing?
Well, that just
and if so, how do you think it should be shared?
One of my ideas was unleash the Witness Underground Army or the Nuclear Gopher Army and say like, hey, here's the release this week. I want you to listen. I want your notes. I want you to vote on the best songs, and like crowdsource the material.
Yeah, but studio tapes are different. Like studio tapes include a lot of stuff that never actually got out. But it's also a shame that it only exists in my house.
Right? Yeah. Like you could put it out in the world in a way.
Yeah.
And then it's for sure it's been shared with people who care. And then those people who care might give you might put pressure on you to like make something out of this. And my other idea was I've been wanting you to become the Nuclear Gopher Witness Underground DJ for a couple of years now.
Okay.
And if you ran a DJ hour, you'd probably have to go listen to this stuff like ahead of time and like vet it in some way, but then put it out on a radio program. You're like, so this song, I found this song, and I wanted to play it for you guys because I think it actually has something of value. And then like maybe you play like the tape version and you actually mix it and you play like the version after or something.
Oh, actually, okay. I like this. I immediately jumped straight to a couple of songs in my head that I'm like, oh, I would love to share that. That would be cool.
Write those down and do it.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's probably some gems on every couple tapes.
there's a lot, and there's stuff that honestly I don't think anybody on the planet knows exists other than me, because why would they, right? And that would be fun. I would really like doing like a little DJ set kind of thing. I'll try to put something together.
Bring you on.
I can come on for Witness Underground. For your media stuff, I could do like a I don't know, some sort of a DJ radio set where I would do just Nuclear Gopher radio and talk about each of the songs and stuff.
Yeah. Like have Mason bring you on under his wing, and he's like, and we got Ryan for one song and one short story, and then he kicks you out.
He probably would like kicking me out. Yeah.
But
all right, we've got some good ideas happening here. I love
packaging it into a podcast. Like for every single time we do this, you have one song to share at the end or at the beginning.
Okay.
And we have 52 weeks, so 52 songs. Get to it. I did like that you played a song last week. It didn't do that guitar justice for sure.
No, I wouldn't figure.
It had that Zoom voice band problem, limiting problem. But I did that with Wesley David, who's coming on next week. He played a song during our interview, which I haven't released. I released like pieces of it because I just got slammed with film festival stuff. But it's kind of cool to like have an artist on and then they play live it's a performance and it's art and it's special. And I've never been on a podcast where like someone's like, how about a song live? See what happens. I think that's really cool.
Why not? I mean, I will try to tell you what. I'll try to bring something Nuclear Gopher to the party next time we do this, and I will find something interesting to share.
Cool.
Tonight's thing of interest to share was this picture of Rhett.
Yeah, it's great. It is laugh-inducing.
It is fantastic.
I believe the original photo made it into the documentary.
I think you're right. Yeah.
He's like looking over his shoulder, making that face.
Well, it's fun. It is kind of a fun thing to be able to do. Like, I'm sitting here in this kind of interesting space, right? And I mean, I could just get up for 1 second, and I can just walk over here, and I can pick something basically at random. And so I just pick the tape. And here is a collection of Lavone rarities.
Wow. Okay.
From 1988.
Wow. The original 13-year-old.
It's recorded over a copy of Paul McCartney's McCartney. And
you guys love the Beatles. I love that you just like copied over it.
Literally dubbed over the tape. We were poor.
Yeah.
Hand-drawn artwork.
You probably got it at a garage sale, right?
Yeah, I think actually we did.
I got some that's at a garage sale.
See, it says the Lavone Rarities, produced by Rhett and Ryan. Inside here, it says 1988.
Wow.
And the songs are Some Quiet, Smoke on the Water. We have two versions of Johnny Be Good here. One of them is us playing Johnny Be Good in the basement, and the other one is us doing Johnny Be Good at the Valley Fair Star Studio. There's something here labeled Moog Overture. Then there's something called Paradise / Wonderland Beauty. Then there is The End, Drown Out, and Psychedelic Kiss. So I'm guessing this cassette is the only thing on Earth that has at least half of these on it.
Wow.
This physical tape right here.
Were they recorded onto that tape? Or are these like copied onto it?
I think some of them are copied, but I'm not sure. But obviously that is the original marker artwork. So my point is, I have cool shit like this.
Yeah.
And I would like to think of a way to sort of share. I'd like, if I could play some of this right now, I would, but I can't because I don't have a tape deck right here that I could play something.
I could have hundreds of cassettes.
Of course, I have tape decks. I'm saying I don't have one that's wired up for us to do this right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
cool
next time I could, because there's a mixing board over here. This microphone is running into it. I could also include some sort of audio input, and in future, I can come up with something fun that I will share from the Nuclear Gopher vaults.
Yeah, I would love that. You know, like I listen to a lot of podcasts, like maybe 20 to 30 hours a week of podcasts. I just binge while I'm working because I mostly don't need to talk to people. And I'll just whatever. So I have that. But podcasts, a lot of times they have like an opening, which is usually ads for 4 or 5 minutes. And they're trying to sell something to you. And at the end, there's often like, I have 3 questions I always ask every guest. And it's like, they've been working on this for years. And we could do something like that. But I kind of like the idea of, Ryan, go to your closet, pull out some shit.
Okay.
And so that's a fun gig. And it would be really cool for you to have one song to launch the thing with that I just like cut in at the beginning of the show. And you can tell a little short snippet about that thing. And maybe you can do that for this episode, and I'll cut it in at the beginning. You have a song in mind that you said you had a few songs that came to mind that you really want to share with people.
Well,
is there one that you could send me?
That's the question. What have I got? Let me just check one thing real quick. Because there is one that I have in my head. So one of the things that I think is sort of appreciated in the current world of my Nuclear Gopher memories is the role that Cy Park played.
Oh yeah.
So
tell us about Cy Park.
Yeah. Cy was a gentleman who I met at a party in probably 1991. Cy was an attendee of one of the Minneapolis congregations, and he was originally hailed from South Korea, and he came to the United States to avoid the mandatory military conscription in Korea. And his way of ducking military conscription was to do something that most witnesses are not allowed to do, which was go to college. So he came here to attend the U of M, and he took pretty much every single course the U of M offered, like practically. He was just sort of living as a student for a super long time. And he was an incredibly brilliant guy, and a really great lyricist, really great songwriter, and he spoke like 7 languages. Like Cy was just awesome. So we met Cy, and we immediately sort of, Cy's actually the person who designed the Nuclear Gopher logo originally.
Oh wow.
It was for the first Purple Triangles album, which I have a copy of on the cassette with the original printing run that we did of those in 92.
You should go grab it at some point. I'll cut it in.
I can grab it right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I know where it is.
You're good. I'll cut this down. Any luck?
Okay. Insert lots of noises of things crashing.
That's a really good idea. I'll rummage to my own messy closet and make an audio recording.
Here we are. This is an original cassette copy of the album Visor Minds by Purple Triangles. Take it out. It's the original. This is our diskette, or our thing, and this is the first thing. Actually, you can see on here it says Nuclear Gopher sound recording, right about there.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see that.
And this is the original master. Like, this is and here we've got it. Copyright 1992, Purple Triangles, and so this was the first thing we did with Psy. And if you in the back, we hadn't quite settled on Nuclear Gopher Productions yet. So it says recorded at Skanky Monkey Goomba Studio, Uncle Lon's Cabin, Nuclear Gopher Electric Studio, and AVHS. And basically Apple Valley High School.
Oh, okay.
We recorded this at Derek Helen's dad's house.
Oh, wow.
Lonnie. And we recorded it at the original Nuclear Gopher, and we recorded it at the Astleford's home, which was Skanky Monkey Goomba. I don't know why. That was what Chad called it.
Chad Astleford?
Chad Astleford, yeah.
Is he out of the religion or still in?
I don't know. I haven't talked to Chad in 25 years. I have no idea. He's probably still in.
Gotcha. Psy, do you know, you kept up with him?
Nope. I know Psy moved to Canada a long time ago, and that was
still avoiding the draft.
I think eventually that got resolved in his favor.
Okay.
I think he did actually have to go back to Korea for a while, and some things did not go so awesome for him for a while. Eventually, though, he did come back. He got married and moved to Canada. I honestly haven't been in touch with him forever. But when we did this record, we didn't yet have the logo. You'll notice it's not on here.
Yeah.
The follow-up to this, though, was Psy's first record, which was called The Outlaws In-Laws. And The Outlaws In-Laws, Psy thought it would be cool to have a logo, and he designed the Nuclear Gopher logo and put it on that. So it was like very similar design to this. Psy did actually the cover of this one too. This was his
What's
work
it
here.
Made on? It's digital, you said? Like a digital art?
No, this is actually a paint by numbers where he painted all the colors differently than they were supposed to be.
Okay.
And it's a pretty cool picture. So
how do you
I did
get
the
that
artwork.
small, though? How do you like miniaturize it to cassette size?
Oh, well, we went to Kinko's, and all of this artwork. What we did was we went to Kinko Copiers, and we gave them the art,
which is like 11 by 8 or whatever.
Yeah, it was physical painting, and then we had them scan it for us, and then then they put the files on diskettes for us, and then we went over on the little Macintoshes and we designed all of this shit, and then we couldn't print it. Well, then we sent it back to the laser printers, and then they would print it, and then we would take it home and cut it all up. So very lo-fi, very low tech.
Laser printers in '92.
Yeah, they had laser printers back then.
Okay.
Color laser printers.
Wow, 30 years of color laser printers in the world. It's amazing.
So I wish I still had the original artwork files, but we never actually had them because we didn't have it was all at Kinko's. But we would
the floppy, the 3.25 inch floppy.
Yeah, I actually have an old 3.5-inch floppy that is labeled as NGCF files, which is Nuclear Gopher Cheese Factory. So I think I've got some things, but I mean, come on, bit rot happens. I can only save so much. But so Psy designed the Nuclear Gopher logo. So here's what's funny. After we did this record, and Psy did the other record with Rhett, and we did the Frog Electric Cheeseburger album, and the Lavone Some Enchanted Evening. So we had this sort of riot of releases from like 91 to 94. But I got married in 1992, and I became a dad. And so I kind of stopped being around to make music.
Mm-hmm.
So Rhett, casting around for another musical person to work with, fell upon Cy. And for 3 years, like, Cy was the main person recording for Nuclear Gopher. He did our logo. He released 3 records on Nuclear Gopher. And there was, like, for the first time ever, there was a year where I didn't release anything. Rhett didn't release anything. Reed and Robbie weren't releasing anything yet. The only person to release something on Nuclear Gopher in 1995 was Cy Park.
Wow. He kept the dream alive. Kept the
he
torch.
Kept it alive. There was a very near miss time frame when I had just become a father that if it wasn't for Cy, who knows where we'd be. So I love you, Cy. Hope you're still out there. Hope you see this. Keep doing your thing.
Cheers, Cy. Nice job, dude.
Again, Cy. You're the man. I still love and use the logo you designed 30 years ago.
Me too. I'm an adopter. A 2021 adopter of the Nuclear Gopher logo.
It's a great logo.
It's awesome.
I'm actually thinking about giving it a little bit of a facelift.
Yeah? What do you got in mind?
Maybe changing the scale of the gopher versus the rings a little tiny bit. And
is he going to be like bigger so he like fills the whole sphere, or
maybe not
more nucleus
fill the
size?
whole sphere? But I was thinking he might get bigger. A little bit.
Okay. A bigger gopher.
Yeah, it's not going to be a big change, I don't think, but I was thinking it might be nice to give it a teeny tiny. There actually
be like profile, or do you want it to be like
Oh, definitely not that. Although I did draw at one point, there was an alternate logo that was like a little cartoon gopher.
Yeah.
And he had like a version of Rhett's silly face, and
a gopher body with Rhett's silly face.
It was just the face. I wonder if I probably.
Oh, that's really funny.
I probably have it, but it was basically like this gopher, like inside profile, little ears and a little face, right?
Mm.
And he was like, I don't know, doing the thing. And so I did that once. Never really took off. That may have been on the website. It may not. I can't remember.
Maybe
it's in some sketchbooks.
We should change it. All the past stuff should have Rhett's goofy face on the gopher's body, and then all the new stuff can be that face. I'll screenshot the 2 faces you just made and pick the best one.
If you do that, we're done. We're done.
That'll be the new T-shirt for this show.
If you put that on a T-shirt, I'm gonna be very upset with you. Let's see. There's one more thing I feel like I want to show.